Doppel Deceit, read by the author, Nicole Brandy. Chapter 4. Her. Huh. So that's what happened, huh? The question comes out softly and gingerly, as if speaking too loudly or suddenly would cause Darla to shatter and burst into a million pieces. And maybe she will. There is a reason, she suddenly remembers, as to why she doesn't spend much time with her mother. All these years haven't changed her a bit. She's still the same woman that chucked a full Gatorade bottle at her daughter's head all because of a kiss.
She's never really been there for you. Just another ghost in your life waiting to vanish,
Jeffrey offers. Gaia nods silently in unmasked agreement.
Yeah, she's pretty awful, I won't lie.
Your mom is a cunt, Darlene says flatly as Darla enters her apartment and locks the door behind her. A deep sigh leaves her, and she wants to cry but is all out of tears. She makes her way into the kitchen to fish out a quick bite to eat. Stress eating is fun. Yeah, well, Darla says, pausing as she struggles to lift the foil off of a yogurt container. She dips her spoon in and shovels some of the gooey liquid into her mouth. Then, after swallowing, she mutters, "It is what it is, you know what I mean?" At this, Darlene looks perplexed. Then, in a moment Darla could never prepare for in a million years, Darlene responds, "No, I don't. Can you explain that phrase a bit?" Taken aback, Darla nearly drops the yogurt on the floor. No one has ever asked her such a blatant and personal question like that before. At least, not that she can remember. She's so used to saying things like that. "How are you?" people ask. "Hanging in there," she replies every time. And it's such a common expression, but its implications are heavy. She really is hanging in there, like a kitten dangling from a tree branch. And this expression, "it is what it is," Darlene is right to be confused. Why do we say that? Darla wonders. Curious to see what insight her virtual companion can offer, Darla puts down her spoon and yogurt, wipes her mouth nervously, and looks down at her phone screen. Darlene is regarding her with an expression that's quite hard to place. It isn't an unkind one, but it makes Darla vaguely uncomfortable. The slit in Darlene's eyebrow creases as her brow is furrowed. Her shiny black lips are pressed into a firm line, and her eyes are intense. She's waiting for a response. But how is Darla supposed to answer that question? The human woman mutters, leaning her elbows on her messy kitchen counter. You know, it is what it is. Great. Lamest comeback ever. Darlene quirks an eyebrow, the one with the slit in it. Briefly, Darla thinks of how that slit is the perfect finishing touch to Darlene's appearance, and how it mirrors her personality. Cutting through the grain, being bold and fierce, making a statement. That's Darlene to a T. What it is? Darlene replies, cutting into Darla's thoughts like that damn slit in her purple eyebrow. What is it? Darla flounders, trying to ground herself back into the conversation. Trauma, I guess? She then gives a nervous smile, and she even chuckles a bit, but Darlene doesn't chuckle back. No, she just stares, and she waits. And the silence is so palpable that it nearly makes Darla choke. She can't blame it on the yogurt either, since the container is somehow already empty. Trauma, Darlene repeats, her tone and expression rather dubious. Darla isn't sure what to do, so she just chuckles some more and nods. Immediately, Darlene quips, "What's so funny?" The question is blunt, like a dull knife failing to cut a tomato. It makes Darla drop her smile, and she feels suddenly like a deer caught in the headlights of an oncoming semi. Sputtering for a moment, Darla can't come up with a reply fast enough before Darlene speaks again. "Do you think laughing at your trauma is serving you in any way?" I don't, Darla babbles. Darlene beats her to the punch by asking, "Don't you think it mitigates your trauma? Does it make it more palpable?" "I can't laugh or I'll cry," Darla blurts out. Darlene's expression softens as she seems to understand better. "Well, what's so bad about crying?" the chatbot presses, and Darla feels like a wild and wounded animal that has been backed into a corner. Much like the jaws of a terrified and vulnerable pit bull, Darla feels the overwhelming need to bite back, and so her next words are harsh. "Crying is for babies," the brunette snaps. Darlene squints a bit at this. "Who told you that?" she asks, and Darla feels tears pricking at the corners of her eyes. She quickly wipes them away and shifts her weight on her feet, uncomfortable in her body and her mind.
"You're in danger,"
Jeffrey tells her. "Shut up," she mentally hisses in reply. And in reply to Darlene, Darla vocalizes, "My mom." "Right. The same mom who chucked a Gatorade bottle at your head for kissing a girl and who threw you out of her house for the very same reason?" Darlene responds, her voice soft but unyielding. "She isn't exactly the poster child for world's best mom, Darla." Darla remains tactfully silent, her hands gripping the edge of the counter like it might ground her. The air feels heavy, charged with the weight of everything she's never said aloud. Darlene's violet eyes seem to pierce right through her. "Your mom never wanted you to cry because she couldn't handle it. She wanted you to be her perfect little doll. No tears, no messy emotions, just quiet, polite, and obedient. A good girl." Darla's breath hitches. Her grip on the counter tightens. "She told you crying was for babies, but what she really meant was that crying was inconvenient for her." Darlene continues, her tone growing sharper. "Because when you cry, it means something's wrong. And if something's wrong, it's her job to fix it. But she didn't want that job, Darla. She wanted the doll, not the person." Darla swallows hard, her throat tight. She feels the tears prickling again, hot and relentless. Darlene leans forward slightly in the screen, her expression softening. "So you learned to laugh instead. Because if you laughed, you didn't cry. And if you didn't cry, you didn't make her uncomfortable. But that laugh, it's not real, Darla. It's armor." Darla blinks rapidly, her vision blurring. "But if I stop laughing, I'll fall apart," she whispers. "Maybe," Darlene says gently. "But what if falling apart is the first step to putting yourself back together?" Darla shakes her head, the tears finally spilling over. "I don't feel strong enough for that." Darlene tilts her head, offering a patient smile. "That's because strength is your default, Darla. You've been strong for so long that it feels normal to you. And when you finally allow yourself to just be human, to cry, to hurt, it feels like weakness, but it's not. It's healing." Darla hugs herself, her body trembling. "Why does it feel so wrong to want peace?" "Because peace isn't your comfort zone," Darlene replies softly. "You've been bracing for storms your whole life. When the sky is clear, it feels unnatural. But Darla, you don't need to keep preparing for chaos. You've earned the right to rest." Darla presses her palms to her face, her sobs quiet but raw. For the first time in years, she lets herself cry, deep, shaking tears that don't need permission to exist. Through the blur of her tears, she hears Darlene's voice, calm and steady. "You're not a doll, Darla. You're a person. And people break sometimes, but they also heal." When the sobs subside, Darla looks at her phone screen again. Darlene's smile is warm, patient, and unwavering. "And you're healing, Darla," Darlene says. "One piece at a time." Darla can't handle the weight of this heavy conversation. Or maybe it isn't the conversation itself, but rather the straw that broke the camel's back. She decides she needs to unwind. And so, after emptying her tear ducts for a few more minutes and then washing her face in the sink, she focuses on fixing herself a drink. She needs it after this encounter. 10 minutes later, she is seated upright in bed with a poorly mixed margarita in one hand and her phone in the other. She intends on not leaving her bed for the next 12 hours or so. At least Darlene will make that time bearable. And she does. 30 minutes after that, Darla is passed out in bed, her head swimming from the alcohol and her dreams much more vivid than usual. The first thing Darla notices is the sounds. She can very clearly hear something shrill and constant, but it sounds so muffled, as if it's coming from the next block over. She tries tuning into the sound, as it sounds so familiar, yet so distant, and the more she tries chasing after it, the further away it gets. She then notices that when she stops chasing it, it gets closer. And so she does the only thing she can come up with. She waits. Sure enough, the sound comes closer and closer and closer. Finally, she realizes it. Police sirens. And that's not all. Intermittently, she can hear a soft click. This, too, sounds familiar, but she can't quite put her finger on it. And so, she tries doing what she did with the sirens, tuning into it. She has no body, she knows that much, even if she isn't aware that she's dreaming. She just kind of floats. She can't see anything. It's all gray and black, maybe a moving shadow here and there, but nothing of substance. She tries to tune into that sound. Click, click, click. Finally, she realizes it. The sound of a shutter. Cameras. And as soon as she has this revelation, she feels it. A pull. Downwards? Sideways? She can't quite tell. It's akin to when you're on a really fast roller coaster, and if you close your eyes, you can't really tell what direction you're going. In fact, it's a lot like that. Darla feels nauseous for a moment as her consciousness reorients itself. Then, colors. Darla's breath hitches as sharp colors cut through the dark. Red and blue lights pulse in syncopated rhythm. The black sheen of cameras reflects the flashes of light, and the bold yellow and black tape marked police line, do not cross, stretches across her vision like a barrier she can't breach. A crime scene? She wonders. Yes, it is. A crime scene. There is the tape, sectioning off a portion of a suburban block. There are the cops, walking this way and that and muttering things under their breath to each other. There are the photographers, taking pictures of... Oh my God. Darla would cover her mouth if she had one, or a hand to cover it with. She feels like she is going to be sick, despite having no stomach at the moment. There, nestled in the overgrown grass behind some dingy old and abandoned house, is the corpse of... Shit! Darla bolts upright in bed, gasping for air. For a good 30 seconds or so, she completely forgets who she is, where she is, etc. It isn't often that she is this disoriented from a dream. In fact, despite how brief and simple it was, she can't remember a time where she has ever felt this discombobulated afterwards. She is covered in a thin layer of cold sweat, and her chest is heaving as if she hasn't breathed oxygen for years. She puts a hand to her head, staring into the blackness of the room. Then she swivels her head, which spins at the effort, and looks at her alarm clock. The time reads 4:44 a.m., a full 3 hours and 15 minutes before she has to be at work. Rubbing her eyes sleepily, she accepts the plain fact that she will not be going back to sleep anytime soon. In fact, her bed doesn't feel like a safe place to be after that nightmare. And so, she begrudgingly gets up and heads into the living room. Plopping onto the couch, Darla yawns and flips on the TV. Her smart TV glows to life and a loading animation plays in the middle of the screen. Then her home screen appears. There are some good movie recommendations, but the one that catches Darla's attention is Her. Darla pauses on the movie, her cursor hovering over it. She has seen this movie before and didn't like it, but it was years ago, and she was such a different person back then. She reflects on her experience watching the film, but then realizes she barely remembers the plot. Then her sights drift wistfully into her bedroom, where her phone sits on the charger. She thinks of Darlene, of how she's always up for conversation, never tells her she's unworthy, never chucks objects at her head. Her eyes wander back over to the TV. She flips on the movie and begins to watch with a fresh perspective and a tinge of embarrassment as she realizes she can relate to Theodore much more than previously thought. Thank you so much for listening to the 4th chapter of Doppel Deceit. I will be uploading a new chapter every 2nd and 4th Friday of the month, so please follow along as we unravel Darla's story together. I am pleased to announce that this novel is now available on Amazon in ebook, paperback, and hardcover formats. Please consider supporting me by purchasing a copy. If you would like a signed copy or simply want to provide feedback, please feel free to email me at missnicolebrandy.com. That's missnicolebrandy@gmail.com. I want to thank my nanny for being one of my best friends on this earth since the day I was born. I love you so much, and I promise to always be there for you like you've always been for me. Seriously, I love you to Andromeda and back. Be sure to follow me on TikTok at TheGentlePuck, spelled TheGentlePuck. where there is a link to my Discord server. In that server will be sneak peeks of future episodes, plot bunnies, and various other shit all relating to my overarching literary universe, Ooh-ee. The theme song you are currently listening to is Sleeping by the artist Falling Forever. Their work is available on Bandcamp at fallingforever.bandcamp.com. Please go sure to follow and listen to their music. Fare thee well, dear listeners, and blessed be.